Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Did anyone else go to Narragansett High School? Am I the only one in the room who actually made it?
Well, actually, we went like anywhere. We went to North Kingstown here.
Oh. I mean, it wasn't yesterday, but a lot of this is familiar to me. I went to Narragansett, and I'm not a star. Let's get that very clear. I played varsity tennis, varsity softball, varsity basketball. It was on the newspaper. It was on the yearbook. I happen to know the guy in the red tie because he's my father, which is why I'm here. Newspaper, marching band, concert band, jazz band, chess team. One year, we wanted to take Latin. There were 3 of us. We were ambitious. And you know what? They brought us a Latin teacher. A retired woman from the community came, and she taught us 3 days a week, and we learned Latin. And Narragansett, I'm still in touch with some, I mean, I live in New York now, but I'm still in touch with some of my teachers. The teacher I saw today for first time in many years. But I remember when I got to college, it was a thing very few of my fellow students shared. I went to Tufts. I got to do everything in high school. I got to try absolutely anything I wanted, and I didn't have to be good at it. You know, I could be on the team. I could be in the band. You know, I could play bad saxophone and have a good time. And, you know, you can also star and go to All-State and get a scholarship and this and that. But I found the science to be great. There were so many opportunities, regardless of your interest. And if you wanted to do something like we wanted to go to Washington, they took us to Washington on Project Close-Up. We did model legislature, we did state student council, took the state chemistry exam. I mean, it was just, I found it a very, really exciting place to go to high school. College was almost a letdown afterwards. So if that's at all helpful, since I'm an actual alumna, I just thought I would add that to you. Thank you.
Other questions?
Am I able to, Mrs. Bushes?
Sure.
For children that have learning challenges, and we know about them in middle school, 2 things happen when they, well, several things happen. One of which is there's 2 staff people who work at both buildings, so it's a seamless transition in the knowledge of kids' strengths and challenges. And then from that we can make some adjustments in schedules to help them. Additionally, we talked about, and Mr. Warren talked about in the preview, the supports for freshmen. Mr. Warren for the kids that we know are going to be, it's a huge jump into the high school curriculum for many kids in 8th grade with IEPs, without IEPs, and it does kind of catch them by surprise. Plus, their demand for independence is much greater, and so there are supports in place. I just wanted to add to what Mr. Warren said about that. So there's if you will, vertical articulation, but because we operate the middle school and the high school, that I think is a plus to when you're even working in 2 separate spaces. So I want to make sure that
May I have one other thing? Just to follow up on what Mr. Warner said about Narragansett High School Senior Project. I've had the opportunity through another position to judge senior projects throughout the state of Rhode Island at a variety of different high schools and even some of the charter schools. And there's a great deal of discrepancy between the rigor, the relevance, and the quality of the senior projects. And of course, it's been a learning experience for all schools. But I really, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the Narragansett School Committee, but even as an objective observer of that, the level of the senior project, the quality of the work, the rigor of the work, and even, you know, I always look for the academic component in the senior project, you know, in terms of what the student is demonstrating, how well they're doing the presentation, their oral report, as well as the writing. And to go back to your concern about the writing, you know, when I read through, and I always try to make a point to read the complete research report of any of the students that I'm judging, and it's been a very, very well-written, high-quality, coherent type of report. But I just want to say that although a lot of the high schools are making good progress in terms of having criteria and benchmarks for the students to meet, Narragansett has set that benchmark very high, and our students have responded and are meeting it very well. And over the 2 or 3 years that I've done it in Narragansett, I've seen improvement each and every year. And also compared to a lot of the other schools that you think of being kind of the leaders in our state that perhaps aren't setting that benchmark quite as high. So I just wanted to add that in terms of support of our senior project and how the students, and it reflects very well with the students, not only the students, but also the teachers and the support that the students have gotten in order to present such very nicely done senior projects.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for welcoming us and wanting us. I think that it's very important that we all appreciate the size of Jamestown School, the size of the environment that our kids are in currently, and think about the number of children that we send to North Kingstown is decreasing, which means that our children, as a percentage of that class, is decreasing. I think it's very important that we recognize that smaller schools, that these children are still teenagers. And one of the questions that didn't get answered before, and is one that I'm hoping that you're considering, and if you can't answer now, what it would be in the future, is how will you welcome our children to the environment where they will always be the outsider. I told someone recently that I kind of wish that I had sent my senior in high school to a private school, only so that she could be one of many kids from different areas, and that she wouldn't be NK. She was just the kind of kid that I'm not from NK, I'm from Jamestown, and so they were the outsiders. Again, the middle school question, the curriculum, oh my gosh, that would be wonderful, so that when you go to a math class, you're not asked, what school are you from, what school are you from? Oh, you're from Jamestown. So that welcoming of where you're from and how you're going to deal with how to integrate those children, because these kids will always be outsiders no matter where they go. Athletes are recruited. They're recruited as athletes, no matter what they're playing. The sports experience at this age group is much more important than the actual sport that they're playing. Most of your kids today are recruited out of showcases, tournaments, camps. They don't need to be seen on a high school field to be recruited for a college education. And the state of Rhode Island is very small, so your athlete, no matter where they are going to be not in the highest level of competition, which I think you demonstrated perfectly, that you could be a quality athlete in another area and still not be at the same level. So when our kids are at the top of the level at the state of Rhode Island, it doesn't put them at the top levels in the state throughout the country. So I think that a quality sports program is that much more important than the actual D1, D2, D3. SATs, it's going to be interesting. I just remembered while I was sitting here that North Kingstown High School offered PSATs for free to sophomores, I believe. So they stopped that practice 2 years ago, so I think it'll be interesting to see what the North Kingstown's SAT scores do. I don't know, are PSATs?
It was free in the state.
It was free in the state, so it stopped for everyone. Okay. Do you have SAT prep courses offered at the high school?
No. We
No.
don't offer it as a course.
Okay, where North Kingstown does, they do have that opportunity.
Yeah, one of those are other countries.
And that's what I would be curious. I'm sure you can't extrapolate it, but the number of kids who have taken prep courses versus those that don't take prep courses. And I had one more important thing. I did want to thank Mrs. Apala for her work here in Jamestown and the environment that you left us. The work that you did and the administrative structure has been able to support and sustain and improve the school. And that is my final point, is the leadership, I think, is so important. And if you are in corporate America or any place that has experienced a large system where the leadership at the top starts to break down, it is not noticeable immediately. Things stay status quo. And as it breaks down over the years, it's going to be seen, and it's going to be interesting. So I think the leadership is very important, and to look at that as an aspect either way is important. So.
Could I address your question of, Dan and I might be able to